The doctor who confirmed my pregnancy test at Sandhurst just told me that the baby wasn't really a baby, it was just a blob of cells. I was young, it was plenty of time to have children, think about my career. By that time I was about 2.5 years into my career in the army. And so it was presented to me as simply something that made me unpregnant, but I was in complete ignorance as to what abortion was. And it wasn't until many years later that I realised that at 10 and 11 weeks, my son Stephen had a heartbeat, fully formed, arms, legs, and that he was, a human person. I was given no information on what abortion entailed, nothing at all, no counselling, and I had the abortion and no counselling afterwards, and I think the very next day or the day after I went back to work. During the abortion procedure itself, I clearly remembered waking up in the procedure. So as I was coming around in the bed after the anaesthetic, I remembered and played over in my mind waking up during the procedure and feeling this tugging sensation in my stomach and pain and crying, and it disturbed me so much that I called a nurse over to the bed and asked her, did that happen? Did I wake up during that procedure? And she was very dismissive of me and told me not to be stupid and you couldn't possibly have woken up. And from that moment on, I thought, right, this isn't a topic for conversation or discussion. Just don't mention it. And I think that's where denial sets in. You just think the shame and the guilt of abortion after the event is just nobody wants to talk about it. So it shuts down. And from that day, really, I didn't discuss it with anybody. I realise now with hindsight that I was clearly suffering from post-abortion trauma symptoms, which are very similar to PTSD. I would have flashbacks to waking up during the procedure. I would also fixate on other people's children who would be similar age to my son and think about, okay, he's walking now, talking now, and just watch their children and think about what my son would be doing. I always thought he was a boy. I used to get very angry when any discussion came on TV about abortion and really think, that the person, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what it's like to experience that. And it had a knock-on effect. All your history is in your future, really. You don't know whether you're going to conceive again when you have that abortion. And my husband and I later went on to divorce. I never conceived again through the whole marriage. We were married for 8 years. So fast forward 10 years, and I meet my second husband, and first pregnancy, 10 years later after the abortion, I miscarried. Abortion is offered to women as a quick solution to the problem. But what women don't realise, like myself, is that it just gives us new problems. Often women will choose it because it's very quick and you don't have time to think about it, and then afterwards you regret that decision. And it's often, we go into denial, because it's the only way you're going to go through with the abortion. You have to dehumanise and detach yourself from the baby because you think this is the only way out of this situation. I've met Muslim women who've regretted their abortions, I've met atheists who've regretted their abortions, and they have responded and reacted in the same way. They have the same symptoms. So it's not a religious thing to regret your abortion. It's actually a human thing and a woman thing, because we're not designed to take the lives of our children. Sadly, men's voices are not heard in this debate. And yes, some men have not stepped up to the responsibility and abandoned women to the decision of abortion, and that is reprehensible. But there are a lot of men who didn't have a say in abortions. The long-term detrimental effects of abortion affect women psychologically, physically, emotionally, and more importantly, spiritually. And they are long-term. You live with them for the rest of your life. I would advise anybody who's listening to seek that help. The help is available there in Northern Ireland, and abortion doesn't have to be your only choice. Women only choose abortion because they feel they have no other choice, but of course that's not true.